everybody. Welcome to another episode of Unscripted. It's good to be here. And wow, lots and lots of stuff to talk about. Lots of winning, lots of losing on different aspects. But let me go ahead and introduce the panel. What is up, Gonzo? How you doing? Glad to have you back, brother.
I'm doing pretty good. As you know, I've had a little bit, couple rough weeks here, last couple of weeks, but I think I finally got everything back getting normal. So, all right, just glad to be back and ready to talk some sports.
Hell yeah. Logan, what's up, brother?
What up, man? I'm a little sad right now, Jay, because after the tremendous week of football we just had, there's nothing on tonight. No football. We do have the WNBA finals coming up a little bit later, but man, I'm still coming off that high from, hell, even the game last night was really good on Monday night. No one thought that was going to be close.
You can watch the Reds getting beat by the Pirates.
Ooh.
Are the Yankees and the Red Sox?
Oh, man, listen, wait, we about to hit up that real quick, guys. First off, I just want to say, what's up, Jonathan? It's good to see you on the show, brother.
What's up, fellas? How's everyone today? I'm in the house.
Hey, I'm glad you're in the house, man. It's been a hot minute since you've been on. I thought you were running and ducking over there.
Oh, hell no, I'm never running and ducking. I'm never running and ducking.
Man,
sometimes other obligations get in the way and you can't quite make it on the show. But hey, I'm here today, and let's get right to it.
And Jay, I just want to say we're the losers club right now. All of our teams lost. Well, okay, technically all of our teams lost. Chris is the one outlier with a tie. But come on.
Hey, it's a loss.
I guess Chris has the slight advantage.
Here's the deal, though, right? After that, I got to tell you, well, hold on. First of all, let me rewind for a sec. We did an elimination week. We all know we've been doing this elimination week. Logan picked the Niners over the Bears, and we all know how that turned out. So Logan is now eliminated from the contest. Frankie took the Panthers over the Browns. We know Frankie got kicked out week 1. But it looks like I took Miami. Well, surprise, surprise. We beat the crap out of New England, so I'm still alive. And then it looks like Pride took the Ravens over the Jets. Man, come on, Pride. You could.
Jay, you better watch that wee word, or they're going to get you again.
Hey, but listen. So the Ravens, the Ravens, he's still in it. They got the win, and then Big Shot Rob took the Saints over the Falcons, and there was one point where I really thought the Falcons were going to get that win, and Big Shot Rob was going to be cursed. But of course, the Saints come back. They get the dub.
I hate living in the city. I hate living in Georgia.
Look, the Falcons are known for blowing big leads. It's not the first time.
Look, Jonathan, the Falcons blowing leads. The sky is clear. The water's blue.
Grass is green.
It's just clockwork, man.
Gonzo and John. So here's the. I'm gonna let you guys get on this contest. You're about a week shy, but you know what? I'm gonna cut you a little.
Slide you in there.
So I want you guys between now and the end of the show to tell me what team you're picking to win next week. Now remember, this is single elimination, and you cannot pick somebody else's team. So, example, I picked the Chargers this week. So the only thing you could do in that game is if you pick the Chiefs. The Chargers are now off the board. So I'm going to give you two guys a moment to think about, meditate, figure out what team you want to take this week. Logan, do you know your team that you want to take this week? Have you thought about it?
Jay, I'm kicked out. What do you mean?
Oh, that's right. I bet that hurt. Hey, watch this.
I'll be cheering y'all on.
Is there any other teams that are on, or any other teams that are off the board besides the Chargers?
No, just the Chargers. Everybody else is open.
Okay.
So you think about it, and sometime in the show, you just tell me who you want, and we'll get that going. Okay. Hey, here's also the deal. So, we had the fantasy week. Logan, I didn't catch everybody else. I know you obviously beat the crap out of me. I tell you, Cam Akers, I hate you.
I got my ass whipped by Pride.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
see, I got Frankie.
I lost. It was ugly. Jonathan, you're in the league, aren't you? Did you win or lose?
I don't know. I have no idea. I don't even.
Oh, he didn't even look.
I don't even know if I'm part of this contest. Am I? I'm confused.
Are you in our fantasy
football?
No, I don't do fantasy.
Okay.
Football.
Okay,
so John, I could not remember if we put you in there or not.
Why? Hey, wait a minute. Are you too good for fantasy football? What the hell?
I just never played any fantasy sports. It just never.
He doesn't mess with the scrubs. Okay, guys.
I've got the winners here. I've got the winners and losers.
Look, he don't mess with the scrubs. Okay.
Yeah. I got you here, buddy.
I just want to offer my congratulations to Logan. Job well done. You did great. Sir. Pride, he obviously blew the water out. Frankie blew the water out. So right off the bat, I think those are. I can't remember if Big Shot Rob if he won or not, but
I got it here, buddy. I got you here. All right, so I got the winners and losers. So fun thing about this, since we have 20 teams, only 8 get into the playoffs. So that means even if you won this week, you still might not be in. That's based on the fantasy score. So the winners we got this week, leading in terms of points, was Lights Kamara Action, who had 150 points. They're sitting up top. Number 2 is Belichick Yourself. That is, Lights Kamara Action is Ben. Belichick Yourself is Lennon. Pride is at 3rd. 4th is Deshaun Watson's Massage Parlor, which is Taylor. He's in 4th place. Cook Me Up at 5. That is Robert. I think that. I wonder if that's a Big Shot Rob. I'm not sure. I think there might be 2 Roberts.
Yeah, Cook Me Up is Big Shot Rob.
Okay, yeah. So Rob's in 5th. DJ Snickers is in 6th. That is Mike. Wentwagon is Freddie. He's in 7th. And I'm in 8th place right now, barely squeaking into the playoffs. But they also, your winners, obviously, Frankie, he got the win. And then also Nate got the win with the Denver Broncos. So those are all the winners. Currently in last place is Joshua Bailey with the New York Riot Makers. So
and what place am I in?
Gonzo, you're 19th.
Oh, yeah, at the end.
I don't even know. I know I'm down there.
Jay, you're at 17.
Yeah, I figured that much. It's terrible.
That's it. Jay got 69 points. Joshua Bailey got 66. So only a few points separated.
What did I have, like 65?
You had 67.5.
Yeah, my team.
It's interesting. In my personal life, 69 is a winning number, but in professional life, it's a freaking loser. So go figure, man. Go figure. It's terrible. Okay, guys, look, let's get a little bit of sports history here, or it's not history, but sports in general. We know that Dak is now probably he's not going to require surgery. He's not going to go on the IR. They're going to try to do a quick turnaround for him. But at the end of the day, I really don't care. The Cowboys defense is amazing. They only gave up 1 touchdown. They did their job. Unfortunately, the offense did not, and that's why we lost that game. Offense just could not get anything going. It was pretty bad. So my thoughts and prayers go out to the Cowboys offensive line and Dak himself. Besides that, guys, look, let's talk about a couple of things here. The Chiefs obviously got the win at Arizona. Like I was telling Logan in pregame, the field was terrible. They just put down a new sod. The sod was coming up. These guys are getting injured. They just lost McAfee or McDuffie, whatever his name is, the cornerback. They lost him. And then they also lost their kicker. They had to have the safety kick the point after attempt. And then he also had to do the kick off.
He did a good job, though. He did a great job.
He did well. Hey, look.
He was a kicker in high school, so he was fine. It worked out well.
So my question to you guys is because we'll get more in depth in week 1 coverage, but again, Soldier Field we know was not in good shape. The Niners almost pulled out the dub, but the Bears came back. But do you think we're going to see more and more of these bad field conditions and injuries? Because it seemed like there was a lot of injuries over the week, and to include Jamal Adams. Actually, he tore his what's that tendon? The quadricep tendon that attaches to the kneecap. He tore that, so he's going to be down and out probably. If not the whole season, the majority.
He's done for the season.
So, what do y'all think about all these injuries, man? How crazy is that? And we'll start off at the top and go to the bottom. Gonzo, injuries, man, going forward. I mean, what are we looking at here?
I think the first couple of weeks we're going to see them because it goes back to we all say we want to shorten the preseason, but your body has to get calloused and get used to taking these hits. And so the first 2 or 3 weeks, I think you're just kind of trying to dodge that injury bullet because you're trying to get your body used to taking them big hits. So I think that's why you see a lot of injuries at the beginning of the year now, because most of the starters don't play in the preseason and they don't get that practice like they used to. Half the time I practice don't even wear pads. So your body don't get that callous, get used to getting hit like that. And if you're not used to it, the first time it's going to hurt a little bit. It's not going to feel the same. So, and you get some of these freak injuries. So I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah, absolutely, and I definitely agree with you on that. And that's again, okay. So Logan, we've seen the injuries. We know that there was also a Raven. I can't remember who it was offhand. I'm sure
Fuller. I think.
Yes.
Something Fuller.
Yes. So he was taken off on the injury card. So again, how important or how scary is it that Jackson's on the franchise tag, given these injuries? I mean, to me, it just seems like a bad omen for him.
So far, it ain't after the hot start. Losing one of your best players on defense. Also, a player we didn't even mention, TJ Watt. He's going to be out for, I think, 6 to 8 weeks. We all know the Steelers look tremendous on defense, but that's really going to hurt if they lose their 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. And like kind of what Chris said, we usually see a good bit of injuries early on in the early weeks, usually 1 through 4. But then after that, like you said, your bodies just get used to it because it's hard. It's hard, man. I get preseason, people like it, people don't like it, but we got to forget these guys still aren't playing a full game. They're only playing 2, maybe 3 quarters if you're a starter.
Right.
And it's not full speed either.
Right. And even the Broncos, they didn't even put their starters out there. And we saw how they looked last night. We'll get into that in a second, but it's just that, we usually see a lot of injuries, but I think what we're seeing so far this season, both in NFL and in college, is it's a lot of big names that are going down early. It's not just the guys who we might not know from someone who works up at the local grocery store from us. These are like headlining guys who are vital to their team. You mentioned, TJ Watt, Fuller, Dak Prescott, and a bunch of other ones. Jamal Adams, that's a dream team right there.
If Pittsburgh dodged a bullet with Watt, not going to have surgery.
Yeah. I'm about to say he got lucky that he ain't going to be out for the whole year, and he's just going to be out for about half the season, give or take.
Yeah, because Watt did not have to get surgery, so he
just
really
be rehabbing.
Yeah, he really dodged a bullet.
Yeah, because that might have ended their season, man. Because how do you replace what he's done? You don't.
Oh, you're not. You're not. Especially for that Steelers defense. He's the heart and soul that backs it up. And we all know that, with Trubisky there and a couple of questionable wide receivers, their offense is still kind of, it's almost like they're restarting over again. You do have Najee Harris, but Najee Harris was not terribly effective against the Bengals. But that defense played outstanding. And
he got banged up too.
The last thing you want to do is lose.
Got hurt.
Yeah, man. The last thing you want to do is lose a guy like TJ Watt off your defense. That is going to be huge, especially come next week. I think they go up against New England, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they do.
So they're going to.
The Patriots looked this past week, man. It might not be that much of an issue. I'm just saying.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's true. But again, TJ Watt gives you a lot of pressure up on the quarterback. So. I still think his presence is going to be required. The Patriots, they look pretty rough against the Miami Dolphins, but a TJ Wattless Steelers, that really obviously helps out Belichick, right? Crazy.
For sure.
Question. I want to kind of switch gears a little bit here while we got like 16 minutes of breaking. I really want to kind of talk about this. Not too long ago, Donald Sterling was forced to sell the Clippers. Now, again, I don't disagree with the sell. I'm just stating that he was forced to sell the Clippers because of some racial remarks about his mistress having pictures taken with Magic Johnson and, just other things racially out there about him, along with some other practices of sexism and, just a couple of other things. But really, it was those racial comments that the leagues did not want to tolerate. Obviously, the players weren't going to tolerate, and they shouldn't tolerate. And obviously, he was forced to sell. My question is this. Why is it that Donald Sterling was forced to sell for racial comments? But then we go and we look at, is it Sarver? Yeah, Sarver for the Suns. He gets suspended 1 year, and he gives up $10 million. and he used the N-word several times. And he made comments about females' appearances several times. He cursed them out. He screamed them. He made a hostile work environment. I think he had a little physical touching, a little bit that was thrown in there, I believe I also saw. But the big thing was he used the N-word several times. How in the hell are we making Donald Sterling sell the team because he has some racial remarks, but then we get Sarver who gives you racial remarks, and then on top of that, put some female sexual things in there, speech, physical touch, so forth. He makes an inequitable opportunity for women and so forth. How is it that he is only fined one damn year? How is that? And how is it that the players aren't pissed off at him like the Clippers were at Sterling? Gonzo, you go to the bottom, and then Jonathan and the stat guy just joined us. Y'all wrap it up. What do you think, Gonzo?
I think the only reason that they made Sterling sell a team and they're not making Sarver is because Sterling was hated by everybody. The owners didn't want him there. The players didn't want him there. Nobody wanted him there. I don't think Sarver is really – I think the other owners like him. I don't think he has that disconnect like Sterling did from everybody. Everybody wanted Sterling to go. I think most people – Sarver got along with most people – and a lot of people didn't even know nothing about this, so this is just coming out. So I think he still has some friendships that's kind of helping him. Where Sterling had already burned off his bridges before all that stuff came out. And they had audio on Sterling where they don't have any audio or video with Sarver. But I think the big thing is that he's not hated like Sterling was by everybody else in the NBA.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that ploy. Again,
I'm not saying it's right. I know
you're not. I know, but that's a good reason. Though. I mean, I can understand that. If people like you, they like you. If they don't, they don't. And sometimes when you don't like somebody and then they goof up and make a comment or whatever he made, it's just really quick to get them out. Versus maybe somebody that maybe you actually like or admire or whatever, he makes a comment. You're probably less likely to pull the trigger as fast, and maybe you cut him some leeway, whatever. Me personally, I think it's just all across the board. If this guy's doing it and he's out the league, then you got to do the same damn thing to the other guy. I mean, honestly. Anyway, Logan,
I agree with that. I'm just saying that's my opinion.
Logan, what do you think, man? I mean, did the league get it right?
I mean, I feel like he should have definitely got fined more. You look at $10 million, and I mean, that looks like a lot of money to us, but he's worth well over, I think, $800 million. So that's just a walk in the park for him. That ain't nothing.
Well, he owns a WNBA team as well.
Yeah. I say $10 million ain't nothing for him. And the year off, he's just going to go on an island and chill. Like, I mean,
it's insane to me.
Yeah, it really is. It is. I feel like he could have definitely got popped for a little bit longer. And I think like kind of what Chris said, just kind of echo off of that. I think the reason that Donald Sterling got the lifetime ban was because he was the first, right? He was the example. And obviously they had to make right by that, and they popped him for the whole year. Rightfully so. I mean, he did some disgusting things. And also, like he said, it was caught on video. There was audio of it. There was a whole lot of just stuff going on with that. We all saw interviews and whatnot. And with Sarver, we never really saw that. We just kind of saw what was in the background. We, just reports and whatnot, but not actual evidence. Let me rephrase that. No evidence where it was just caught on camera or audio, no phone call, nothing like that. It was just personal experiences with, like you said, the women, minorities, whoever it was he was with. And like you said, he was dropping the N-word when no one should be saying that, especially a white guy. And, like you said, objectifying women, can't be doing that. That's just morally wrong, man. And, I feel like they definitely could have gone for a lot longer. And they definitely should have fined him a lot more money, because $10 million ain't nothing for this guy.
Jonathan, I want to repeat this one more time, because I want to make sure we are very clear on what the violations were. So point one is on at least 5 occasions, he repeated the N-word when recounting the statements of others. Point 2, he engaged in instances of inequitable conduct towards female employees, made many sex-related comments in the workplace, made inappropriate comments about the physical appearance of female employees and other women, and on several occasions engaged in inappropriate physical conduct towards male employees. And he also engaged in demeaning and harsh treatment of employees, including yelling and cursing at them. What do you think, Don? I mean, is a 1 year, 10 mil? Is that, I mean, what are we looking at here?
I mean, you know, the harsh reality is that it's not harsh enough. I mean, he should have been handed a more severe punishment, I would say, you know, but you know, Donald Sterling was a different person. He was not liked by many. You know, he was the least likable person around the league. And also, you got to remember when that incident happened and when we, you know, had the audio of what was said from Donald Sterling, a new commissioner was coming in. You know, Adam Silver had to make a name for himself. You know, he had to put his foot down right away. And once he stepped into the league, he was met with a challenge. And, you know, he had a tough task at hand. And I think he handled it the best way he possibly could. He knew he had to handle it because the NBA would have received backlash. This is because of timing. It's because of timing. It's also because of popularity, also because of who he is. You know, we also don't have proof like what the other guy said. We don't have the substantial evidence to really say what was actually said in those statements. So I think a lot of that has to do with it. But, you know, the N-word is unacceptable. It's dismissive. It's very offensive. And, you know, I do believe that a person who used those type of words and that type of language and, you know, disrespects people within the workplace, I do think that that person should be warranted a hefty suspension or a big fine so they could learn, you know, so they can be used as an example. But again, back to Donald Sterling. We're going to revisit it again. The reason he was banned lifetime was because of timing, because we had it on audio, and because of who he is and how he was as a person around the league. You know, this guy was known for character issues. He was known for his racism. He was known for disrespecting his tenants and showing favoritism towards a certain party. So a lot of that had to do with why Donald Sterling was banned from the league.
Right, stat guy. So again, you know, what do you think? You know, was he banned? Was he given enough of a punishment, or should have been more?
I think it obviously should have been more, but the problem is, if they were to give him more, don't you think he's going to come out and say something that could potentially get other owners in trouble also?
Yeah.
So then you can kind of sit back and be like, we're just going to do this just because we need to. But I guarantee there's other owners out there that are doing the same things that he was doing. It's just more so now that it's out there, who's going to be the next domino to fall.
And that's very much true. I again, to a lot of y'all's points, you know, the guy owns two teams. He's got more money than he knows what to do with. $10 million is probably about $1,000 to him, you know, metaphorically speaking. So, you know, the year, yeah, he don't care about the year. He'll just go vacation somewhere. He'll chill out. He'll watch it on TV. He's got good, competent people that run that team. They're good. The $10 million, it's $1,000. It's probably a tip in the bank account.
It's probably $100 for him.
Yeah, I just don't think it's going to prevent him from carrying on more of these activities. I think maybe for a while he will. He'll be a good boy. He'll do everything right. But then at some point, you know, he'll go back to them old ways, and I think we're going to see more resurface. I don't know. What do you guys think? Logan? Or no, Logan's not here yet. Gonzo, do you think he goes back, or do you think this guy's going to learn?
You just never know. Hopefully he learns. I mean, that's what we hope for everybody. They learn from it and don't do it again. But I mean, you never know. Some of these guys get stuck in their ways and just keep, or don't care and just keep doing the things. So really, I mean, only time will tell. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Turn the tide real quick. I don't know if you guys follow the WNBA basketball, but obviously, and I haven't watched this. You know, we're in what game 2 now of Las Vegas versus Connecticut, and Vegas took the first game. Now we're going into the second game tonight at 9:00 on ESPN. Man, do the Connecticut Sun bounce back, or is this Becky Hammond's year to win it all? What do you think, Gonzo?
I think Becky Hammond and the Aces are going to win it all. I just don't think the Sun have enough offense. They played great defense the other night in game 1 and was made the game close, but still fell short. And I just don't think they're going to be able to slow that Aces offense down enough to be able to win the series.
Absolutely. And then Logan, one of the things we know, the Aces zone defense did pretty well against the Sun. Do we see more of that disruption again in game 2?
I mean, the old saying goes, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I would keep going for it. Unless they find a way to get some more baskets on it. But yeah, like Chris said, man, I got the Aces winning it. I think that it's kind of just their year, man. I think they just got the better talent right now, and they're clicking on all cylinders. So I think that's how it's going to go tonight.
Jonathan.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with everybody on this panel. I think the Las Vegas Aces are just too damn good of a team. They have tremendous talent on that team, and the Vegas bettors obviously would agree. They're the betting favorites to win it all, and rightfully so. You look at this team and you look at how this team is constructed. This team can seriously do some damage. And then look who leads them, Becky Hammond. Becky Hammond, to me, is the best coach in women's basketball right now. I mean, she learned from one of the best. She came
she did.
The Greg Popovich coaching tree. So I think this team is in the right shape. They're definitely have that championship hunger, and they're definitely playing like they want to win it. They have too much talent. They have the offensive firepower. Their defense has stepped it up a notch. So I don't see anybody beating this team. I think the Vegas Aces will pull it off.
That guy, man, WNBA, man. How you looking at game 2? We know game 1, like I said, was taken by Becky Hammond. What are we expecting out of game 2 from Connecticut?
Well, if a lot of people remember when the WNBA season started, they all pretty much said it was the Chicago Sky repeating, or it was going to be the Vegas Aces that were going to take them down, and that was mainly because a lot of people felt Becky Hammond was the best coach in the WNBA, even though she had yet to coach a game up until this year. And now that she's proven what she can do, I think she's going to be out of the WNBA next year and coaching an NBA team.
Yeah, I've actually kind of posed that question too. It's like, how long would it be before, she gets into the NBA? And I got to think how well she's coaching in the WNBA, the fact that she was under Popovich as an assistant. You just got to imagine at some point a woman's going to be a head coach. And I think Becky Hammond will probably get that nod. I can't imagine that she wouldn't.
She should have gotten a Portland job.
I get it. Hey, listen, I'm right there with you.
She should have gotten that job. She was damn sure qualified. I don't understand why she didn't get the job and why she was ignored. I clearly think that job was her opportunity to coach in the NBA.
I think the San Antonio job is hers in the waiting. I think when Popovich gets to the point where he wants to hang it up, he's going to call Becky and be like, "Hey, this is my last year. The job's yours after I'm gone."
And I'll tell you, San Antonio would be extremely, smart to bring her on. Like, again, she learned from him. She's getting the experience, as you can see, and she's doing well with her first year. I mean, I don't know how you don't. I mean, honestly, I'd give her the damn Rockets job at this point. I'm waiting to see what Silas does with the Rockets. But, man, I tell you, I like Becky. I really, honestly, I think she's going to be amazing when she gets to that next level of the NBA. Real quick, we know that Albert Pujols, this is probably the last one before we go into the show. Albert Pujols is 3 home runs away from joining the illustrious 700 club. Is anybody on this panel think that he won't make it? Gonzo?
No, I think he's going to get it. I predicted he's going to finish with 702, so I'm staying with 702.
Logan?
Nah, he's got this, man. He's riding the hot hand. He's been really good since the All-Star break. And, I mean, hey, it's a really great end to his career, I think. He passed A-Rod the other night, and I think he deserves that 700.
Jonathan, let me ask you a question. Does Albert Pujols pull a Mr. 3000?
I can see it. He's on a roll right now. He is on fire. And we're talking about a living legend here. We're talking about someone that's been doing this for a very long time. He's a well-liked player. He's a veteran with veteran experience. He's the voice in that clubhouse. I think he definitely can get it. At this rate and the way he's putting the ball in play and the way he's hitting, I think so.
Let me ask you a different way here, stat guy. If he gets to 699 and just doesn't hit it, how is that going to feel in his mouth?
I think he's done either way, and I think he's okay with if he finishes at 697. He's okay if he finishes at 698. He's okay if he reaches 700. I think he's content with what he's done over his 2-decade career, and I think he's ready to get to that next phase of his baseball life, which a lot of people think is going to be involved in minor league baseball in some form, whether it's a manager, whether it's like a hitting coordinator or something. But you have to look at what he's done this year and then look at what he did the previous 4 or 5 years with the Angels. Had he not gone to the Angels, could you be looking at a guy that's approaching 800 home runs right now?
Again,
if he stayed healthy a little bit more, yeah, definitely.
Because he wasn't healthy with the Angels, and even when he wasn't putting up that great of numbers. Had he stayed in St. Louis, I think there's a legitimate shot that he'd be pushing 800 right now.
But, me and Logan talked about this, that if Ken Griffey doesn't get hurt, because we know he missed a significant amount of time, then, he left out at 670. He'd be in the 700 club. 30 home runs, Ken Griffey?
Easy.
Instantly, he would have shattered the hell out of that record. He would have been the home run king, no doubt.
And to be fair, he is still getting paid. Chris, your team is still paying him.
Yep.
He's still getting that money.
Ken. How we love Ken, making money even when you're not playing. How good is that? All right, folks, we're going to go ahead and get this bad boy rolling, man. Let me pull up my slide here, and we're going to get into this show. Man, what a time to be alive. I still can't believe I lost, man, Logan. That really just sucks. Hey,
Jay, it started off rough with Cam Akers, and then
bro, I never yelled at a TV screen as much as I did that day. It's like, come on, man. It's not my year.
I will say, man, my Saquon pick didn't look too bad, man. So far, he looked great.
Logan, shut up.
I'm just saying, Jay.
I know, man. But my feelings are hurt right now.
I know.
I'm very sensitive. I'm very emotional. The wife had to get me out of the fetal position after the first game was over with. So just be careful.
I'll be careful. It's okay.
Thank you. Just be gentle. All right, man. I got some questions. We're going to go rapid fire down the row. Week 1. Gonzo, after the upset in Minnesota and Rodgers' lack of production, obviously – he was extremely pissed at his newbie wide receivers. You can just see it all over his face, and you can see it all over Watson's face. It was just, you can just see it clearly. He posted a 67.7 QBR. How does the Packers at this point, because we don't know when Lazard's going to come back. I'm pretty sure Aaron Rodgers is praying to the injury gods that he'll have Lazard back as soon as possible. But in the meantime, what can the Packers do to get back on track?
I don't think they're going to have to do a whole lot. One, they just got to catch the ball. Some young receivers, but if you look back last year, the Packers played terrible last year in game 1. Mm-hmm. And everybody was talking all Rodgers done, and then he went on to win the MVP. I'm not saying he's going to do that again this year because he is going to be – they are hurting at the receiver position. But I don't think they're just going to be a terrible team either. I think they'll play better than what they did in week 1. And if I'm the Packers, I don't panic too much because, like I said, You laid an egg like that last year in week 1, and you end up winning 13 games that season.
Same question or same topic. One more question or a follow up on that is I've been predicting and I've been saying way before in the preseason that I felt like the Vikings were going to be the number 1 seed or the number 1 spot in that division, and that the Packers would be the runner-ups. Do you see that, or do you think that that's just a hiccup and it will still be the Packers division?
I could see Minnesota winning the division. I think Minnesota's going to be a real good team, but I think the Packers are going to be right there battling for that division with them. But I like Minnesota's overall team. I think Minnesota has the overall more talent than what Green Bay does.
Yeah. Okay. Logan, I'm going to ask you now. This is about my team. Give me the hard truth. Look, with Dak out for possibly 6 to 8 weeks, he's not on the IR. They expect him to make a rapid, quick return. Whatever. I don't believe that. Should the Cowboys, try to salvage the season and trade for, a backup quarterback and bring him in, maybe like a Tyler Huntley? I don't know what the Ravens would require in terms of a trade, but does Jerry, give up the farm and try to bring in a Tyler Huntley and get this thing back on track, or does he just stay status quo and see where the team falls at the end of the year?
I think they'll go with Cooper early on if he doesn't pan out. If he struggles, then I think they could go that route. There's been a bunch of names thrown out there. There's been Cam Newton. There's been obviously Jimmy Garoppolo, like you mentioned, Tyler Huntley. Out of those three, Jimmy's right there waiting. But the way Trey Lance played, he might not be on the bench for much longer, though.
I know you never know, but Jones said that Dak might only be out 4 weeks.
But Jones ain't no damn doctor.
Jones ain't no doctor. Come on.
But even 8, even if the doctor
they weren't going to get another quarterback.
Right.
But here's the doctor conform to Jerry Jones and what he wants in 4 weeks. I would not really want to rush Dak in that situation because that could lead to more.
Not this. No. The season just started, but it is going to be
a prone to injury, so you got to be careful how you use them and even bring them back.
So let's say it's 4 weeks, right? The next 4 games the Cowboys have against the Bengals, who are going to be pissed off. You have the Giants, who look good in week 1. You have the Commanders, and then you have the Rams. Those are some pretty tough games, all in all. So
the Cowboys have an incredibly difficult schedule.
Yeah, they're going to have the Eagles right after that. So
I'm already preparing for bloodshed.
And Jay, I will say this: if Ezekiel Elliott does not step up during these games, he's not it. He ain't it, man.
I agree with you.
He isn't it. He wasn't it last season.
He ain't shown it.
But let's also keep it in perspective that the offensive line that he's running behind is a makeshift Band-Aid up offense. It's hard to ask a lot of anything like that.
There's no protection in front whatsoever.
Not at all.
So Jonathan, Tom Brady threw for 212 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. Tampa only scored 1 touchdown against that Dallas Cowboy team. Can they really make a Super Bowl run given what I consider to be a lackluster performance by them?
You know what? It was a lackluster performance, but let me tell you guys something. Not every win is going to be pretty. There's going to be some days that you win ugly, and unfortunately, to open the season, the Bucs won ugly. But hey, Tom Brady takes it. It's a victory. It puts him in the wins column. And yes, he's going to have to play a lot better. The offense is going to have to play a lot better, but they have some injuries to their offensive line. The protection is not the same. So Tom Brady's going to have to work extra harder, and he's going to have to try to make plays with what he has in front of him. They weren't putting up 6s, but they were putting up 3s. And, every time they were able to drive the ball down the field, it resulted in at least 3 points, if nothing else. So they were doing a good job at driving the ball down the field. They just couldn't, put together a drive effectively in the red zone. They just couldn't put anything together, it seems. Every time they would get in the red zone, they would get denied. And they would have
follow-on question to that. So let's say, because here's my point. Let's say they go up a team like San Diego. We all know you put Tom under pressure, he folds like a cheap lip suit. And honestly, he does. Look, you saw it in Atlanta when they were down 28-3. And for the love of God, why Atlanta did not keep the pressure up in the second half, I'll never understand. But when you get a team, you saw Dallas. I believe Micah Parsons had 2 sacks on Brady, but you saw that the reason why they got the 1 score is because the Dallas defense did keep the pressure on Brady. So I'm wondering if that's a Dallas team, when you go up again, let's say they do make it to the Super Bowl, they play an AFC team that has a defense like San Diego. They're going to crush Tampa. I mean, they're going to crush Tampa like the cockroach they are.
Yes, and that's their formula, right? I mean, the Dallas Cowboys defense has done terrific holding it down. The offense just hasn't held up its end of the bargain. If the offense gets going and starts to execute plays, then this Dallas team can look more complete. But the defense did do its thing, and Micah Parsons, he continues to terrorize opposing quarterbacks, something he's done so well. I mean, you saw him in his rookie season, and he played like a veteran. He played like a 12-year veteran would. He could come off the edge. He could put a lot of pressure on the quarterback. And we all know when Tom Brady's under duress and he feels the pressure, he starts to struggle. This is a guy who gets a little frustrated and who can't settle in. And once you start to rattle him a bit and get inside his head, he doesn't make those same plays. He's not as effective. So the Cowboys knew that. They threw the kitchen sink at him. The defense played well. And Tom Brady had a tough night in week 1.
It's going to be interesting. Stat guy. So we saw the Bengals, right, take on the Steelers. In my opinion, what should have been a mollywop game for the Bengals, given that, with Trubisky, and how much do we really believe in him? And then you have Najee Harris, who didn't really run the ball all that much. But that Steeler defense, up to the point really where TJ went down with the bicep or the pec injury, even still played great. They beat him 23-20, and the Bengals had 5 turnovers from Burrow, 4 of which were picks. 1 was a Burrow fumble. Has reality come back to the city of Cincinnati, or is this just a fluke game?
I don't think it's a fluke game because the one issue that plagued Cincinnati last year was getting Joe Burrow sacked. And despite putting all that money into the offensive line, it didn't help against Pittsburgh. And if it didn't help against Pittsburgh, when they go up against good defenses, can they keep Joe Burrow upright? And that's going to be the biggest key to their season this year, because if they can't, you could see more games like that from Cincinnati this year. Because if teams know they can get to Burrow and pressure Joe Burrow, that's what they're going to do.
And I totally agree with you, because it's amazing to me that Burrow turns the ball over 5 times and yet only loses by a field goal. You do that against, Kansas City, Buffalo, Chargers, whatever, and that's going to be like 35 to like damn near probably 10 or something. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I would, and that's why Cincinnati is still a very scary team where they're going to put up points and they're going to win games, but when they play a good defense, that's going to be the key to their season, I think, where if they play a good defense and they turn the ball over, can they put up enough points to overcome that?
Oh, no, I definitely agree. Gonzo, Chargers defense, like I said previously, they're freaking scary. And I think Logan saw that against the Raiders. Khalil Mack, holy crap. He comes out of Chicago where, let's just be honest, his career was dead, barely on life support. The thing about pulling the plug, he goes over to the Chargers, and it's like he found the fountain of youth. He found a younger Khalil Mack, and, he gets like 3 sacks. And altogether, Chargers got 6 sacks on Carr. They got 5 tackles for loss, 3 interceptions. At this point, Herbert had 3 touchdowns. He had a 129 quarterback rate. I mean, they're just looking stupid.
Michael's got a cannon too, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, at first I really thought that Buffalo was a team that was going to go to the Super Bowl. Now I really think the Chargers can definitely make their case against them. What do you think?
No, yeah, I think the Chargers are going to be able to compete to be going to win the AFC and make it to the Super Bowl. That defense is going to be impressive. Khalil Mack looking back like he did back in Oakland before he went to Chicago. He was getting to play free. I don't know, maybe the schemes fits him better, or just knowing that you're on a team that has a chance to win as well. And then with Herbert, Justin Herbert, I think is on his way to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league. And dude has a cannon, and some of them throws he made Sunday were just unreal.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Logan, real quick question before I give the actual question, just a follow up on the Khalil Mack. As we all know, this was the game against his old team. You must have had flashbacks to when he was on your team. How bad did it hurt to see him just mishandle and abuse you guys?
It wasn't fun. I didn't enjoy it, and I wish he never left. The end.
Yeah. Now for the actual question. Chiefs killed the Cards, man. Mahomes got like 5 touchdowns, 144 QBR. They did, like I said, had those 2 injuries. One to McDuffie, I believe it is, the cornerback, and the other one was to their kicker. But they still got the win. Fumbles, however, were an issue for Kansas City. So that was an issue for them. And they also gave up 3 sacks. So, how do you feel about these Chiefs?
They look scary, man. I mean, people were asking if, Mahomes lost a few guys and they thought he might fall off. That ain't the case, and not at all. Super talented. MVS did really good his first game. Juju did really well. Because, I mean, we all know that Mahomes is a great quarterback, a top quarterback in the league. And he showed it. It don't matter who's on his team. He can get the best out of them. And as well as he threw the ball, man, those are like MVP numbers right there. And if he keeps that up, man, he might be getting that award. He looked great.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say.
Hold on a second, Jonathan. Jonathan, stat guy. I want to get. We're actually over time on this topic, but I want to give you guys 1 minute each to give me your takeaway from week 1. Jonathan, you're first. What is your takeaway from week 1?
Well, first, I just want to say I think it's fair to say that Patrick Mahomes has reinserted himself after having some ups and downs last season and some inconsistent play. And he looks like he has returned to MVP form. But the guy that stood out to me the most this weekend was Justin Jefferson. Man, that dude's a beast, man. You saw him put up some numbers. Jefferson's performance in the first 2 quarters alone, 6 catches, 158 yards, 2 touchdowns. He finished the game 9 for 184 with 2 scores, and the Vikings ended up dominating the Packers 23-7 in the victory. Look, this guy is an exceptional player. He's a great route runner. He is scary. This boy is scary, man, and I just think he's going to have a wonderful season. I think he's going to be tough to stop. He's definitely a force to be reckoned with on that offense, and he's definitely coming into his own, and he's showing the world that he is a top 5 receiver, if not the best receiver in the NFL, because the way he's playing, and if he keeps playing at such a high level, he will be the best receiver in the NFL. No doubt about it. The dude is bad. The man can play.
Could you imagine if the Eagles ended up drafting him instead of Rager?
Oh my
God!
Eagle fans have not let that go.
Well, they got Rager anyway, though. They just traded and got Rager on the team anyway, so they got nothing to Rager and they got Jefferson. So whatever. I'm sorry. The Eagles could have got. I apologize.
Right.
Stat guy. Listen, I got a couple of questions before you give your week 1. I'm just asking about this. Again, Justin Jefferson made this statement before the season even started. He made this statement that he was going to be better than Devontae Adams. And I think we're kind of seeing that a little bit. That's kind of my first thought. My second thought is it not time to put some damn love on Kirk Cousins' name? Again, 118 QBR, 2 touchdowns on 277. I just think it's time to start, I know he's not an elite guy, but we need to start really taking him a little bit more seriously. My thoughts. But stat guy, what's your takeaway?
Well, to touch on that quick, people who think Kirk Cousins is not a good quarterback can kiss my ass, because he's definitely a top 10 quarterback. He showed it last year. He showed what he can do when he's actually given time to throw, that he's going to be a lethal quarterback. Justin Jefferson proved last year, in my opinion, that he was the best receiver in the NFL, better than Devontae Adams, because
Absolutely.
Aaron Rodgers throws Devontae Adams the ball 80% of the time. You still have Adam Thielen on side of Justin Jefferson taking away some of Jefferson's targets, and yet Jefferson still puts up the numbers he puts up. Now you bring in Kevin O'Connell, who worked with the Los Angeles Rams last year, that helped Cooper Kupp have the year he had last year, that helped Matthew Stafford have the year he had this last year. I'm not going to be shocked at all if Justin Jefferson ends up with 2,000 yards receiving this year.
And you know what also my takeaway on that, Justin, just to kind of piggyback or caveat off what you're saying, is given how well Cousins is playing, given how well his receivers are performing, how much easier and how much more extended life does it give Dalvin Cook?
A ton, because look how many breaks that Dalvin Cook had this past weekend. Alexander Madison had, I think, 10 or 11 carries.
Yeah, absolutely. So you know Dalvin's going to give you a solid, yardage per average. You know that.
Yeah, I think 18 carries for 90 yards, which is still 4.4.
Yeah. If I'm Dalvin Cook, I'm loving this situation. I go out there, when I get my carries, I make the most out of those carries, but I don't have to carry this damn team like Derrick Henry or Jamal Taylor have to do for their team, right? They don't have to be the workhorse, the mule, the everything and all be all. They can just go out there and have a long career, knowing as long as obviously the wideouts stay healthy, but with that balanced passing attack, it really makes their job so much easier, man. Damn. Oh, the Cowboys piss me off. It's my life, though, Dustin. I chose to be a Cowboys fan.
The Cowboys could have had Justin Jefferson, too, where they drafted CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, shut up. Hey, don't take offense to that. I'm just pissed off because I know you're right, okay?
Everybody that drafted a receiver in that draft.
Hey, Dustin, okay, leave it alone.
CeeDee Lamb, everybody.
I couldn't say that. Jason, shut up. Okay, next topic. Because we're going to kind of stay with this NFL theme for a minute. And we're going to kind of talk about these quarterbacks. The NFL quarterback middle class, are they fading out? You kind of know that you have the elites and then you have the scrubs. Let me give you an example. Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Kyler Murray, so forth. The list goes on, right? Justin Herbert, whatever. Was it the dude from freaking Buffalo, Josh Allen? Those are your elite guys right now. Currently, I'm not talking about all time. I'm just talking about actively in the league. Those are that's like your elite tier. Then you kind of got the scrubs, right? You got the Daniel Jones. You got Baker maybe hovering between the middle ground and a scrub, and then you kind of got over there and Kobe Brissett. I was kind of putting Geno Smith in there, but damn, after what he did with Seattle, I don't know where the hell to put Geno. Maybe I put him in the middle ground, and if he sucks in week 2, maybe I slide him down to the scrub. I don't know right where to put Geno at this point. But again, you just have your scrub guys, and then you got the middle of the row, right? And the middle of the row is kind of like your Matt Ryan. Maybe, I hate to say it because I love Dak Prescott, but again, he doesn't have the playoff wins. So I'm going to put him in the middle for right now until he gets beyond the first round of the playoffs. So you look at a Dak Prescott, maybe, until Kirk Cousins can go further in the playoffs, which I really fully expect this to be his year, that he comes out of the middle category and he goes into the elite category. But I need him to get past that first round. I need him to win the division too, to really push over that hump. You look at a Tannehill, a Winston. I think those are kind of like your middle ground guys. Yeah.
Did you say Kyler Murray is one of the top tier guys?
Well, I put him in there just because. I don't think that Arizona's giving up $230 million just to be a middle of the run guy. And I'm not saying he's elite like top 10, but I'm saying he's not really. I don't really look at him middle of the run because he can run the ball like nobody's business.
That's paying him to be a top tier quarterback.
Reason I was asking is because I would have Kirk Cousins in that top category before I'd put Kyler Murray up there.
You know what? I get that. The only knock on Kirk Cousins, the reason why I kind of got him on that fence is because I feel like Kyler Murray can run and he can extend a little bit better than what Kirk can.
But does that
You know
actually
what
make
I'm
you? Does that actually make you elite though? Kyler Murray runs because
yeah, it's subjective, right?
he
It's
runs-
subjective. I'm not
That
saying
doesn't
that.
necessarily make you elite. It could
He
make
runs.
you
Kyler
athletic.
Murray runs
but
like a
not
chicken with his head cut
necessarily
off.
elite, if that makes sense.
No, Jonathan, nothing you say makes sense. You just
Kyler Murray runs like a chicken with his head cut off, and a lot of times it's because he's panicking and has no idea what the hell to do with the football.
But
Josh
hey, look,
Allen-
here's the deal.
Josh
Hey,
Allen
here's the deal.
runs-
Hold on.
Josh Allen-
Let me finish this one thought, and then everybody's gonna get their thoughts to say whatever they want to say. Let me just even start the timer, man. Damn it. Hold on a minute.
Sorry, Jay, I got it started.
Okay, thank you, man. Jeez Louise, man. I suck at production, man. I hope this doesn't hurt my resume. Hey, listen, the one point that I really want to kind of point out is last year there was 8 quarterbacks that had triple-digit QBRs. The league average was about 90.8. There were 8 quarterbacks that had sub 85 QBRs. And that's kind of where I put it, right? If you're a 90 or a 90 between 90 and triple digit, that means you're probably, in that middle ground. If you're below 85 on the QBR, then you're probably, get into that scrub category. There's probably a little gray area in there, But 8 are on triple digits, 8 are 85 or less, and then everybody else is right there in that 90 hashtag. And that's kind of where I see a couple of those guys. I think Carr had he had 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions last game, and he had a 26 QBR. So I'm not saying Carr sucks, but I do think he's kind of still in that middle ground. That's just my thought process. Gonzo, are the middle of the road guys, are they fading out and we're going to have basically 2 distinctions, or is that middle quarterback always just going to kind of be in there?
I don't think the middle quarterback's really fading out. I think what it is now is the quarterback market keeps getting set each year. So these guys are getting more money. And a lot of people think that, if they sign him to a $200 million deal, he has to be a top quarterback. Well, some of these guys are getting them. These deals are middle of the road quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So I don't think the middle class is really the way fans and people are looking at it is fans look at how much money players are making and they want to put them up a class maybe where they shouldn't be. And I think today's
let me ask you this, and I get what you're saying too, Gonzo.
You're on top or you're at bottom. Nobody wants to if you're in the middle, nobody really cares.
And I get that. And that's why I look at the Brissetts, I look at the Tua Tagovailoas, those kind of guys that still got to prove themselves, kind of in that category. Logan, let me ask you this, man. Who would you think right now are your middle class quarterbacks?
Oh, just one off the top of my head, Ryan Tannehill, perhaps, right? I mean, You don't really look at him as a star. You don't look at him as a scrub. He's just kind of there. So I definitely put him in there. As for other ones around the league, right? I mean, you mentioned like Daniel Jones. I don't really think he's a mid-tier. I think he's just kind of a little bit lower tier. I mean, maybe Jacoby, right? Jacoby Brissett. I mean, he's starting. I mean, he didn't look.
No, yeah, I get that.
Great, but I mean, yeah.
Logan, let me ask you a question. You mentioned Tannehill. Now,
Yeah.
What would you say if I told you that Tannehill, the last 3 seasons with the Titans, had a triple-digit QBR?
I'd say that's a nice number.
I'm just saying, but we're considering him, a middle-class quarterback, and I can see your point in that. But are we shorting him when he got a triple-digit QBR? Are we doing him a disservice, or are we forming a reputation on him when his numbers kind of say a little bit different?
I know you're basing off of that, but when I think of elite quarterbacks, I think of quarterbacks who can take over a game and who can get me a game-winning drive no matter what. I don't think of Ryan Tannehill as that. I think of Derrick Henry as that player on the team.
Yep. Take Derrick Henry away from Ryan Tannehill for a year and see what his QBR is.
Yep.
Well, you can say that about damn near anybody. Take away Fournette from the Tampa versus Dallas game, and they have no freaking offensive production. We all know that Fournette got you well over 126 yards. He had very little, 212 in the passing game. So, again, that's not a valid point because, a running back –
Tom Brady's never had a strong running game.
No. No, it's
But what I'm saying is every team has to have a running back, or their passing game is going to suffer, right? I mean, you can't have a straight passing game and not suffer on your QBR.
Tell that to Kansas City.
I put Dak Prescott.
They had Clyde Edward-Helaire. He did pretty
Prescott
damn
in
good.
the middle of the road.
In the middle. I mean, Jay, I think you could agree, right? That's your boy.
Oh, yeah,
but...
and by the way, we all know that Kelsey's one hell of a security blanket. He may not be a running back,
obviously,
but he's one hell of a security blanket. But I get your point. Hey, Justin, I do see your point. I don't want you thinking I don't see your point.
Would you have Prescott as middle in the middle?
Yeah, man. Honestly, I do. I just do. I think, regular season when he's got the right receiving core around him, like it did last year with Gallup, CD, and Cooper. Cooper was getting the double teams. CD was beautiful, in a slot. And then you had Gallup as your 2, which was getting wide open looks because of what Cooper. So, I think that wide receiving core gave Dak Prescott, a lot of options and a lot of openness to be. And let's not forget Dalton Schultz and what he does as well. So, last year, he's a great quarterback, but at the same time, he's not elite. I just don't have, and I hate to say it about that, but he's not elite. He just isn't. Jonathan, let me ask you, man. Again, middle class. Who's your middle class guys?
Well, I title things a bit differently. I got my elites, I got my top tier, I got my second tiers, and I got my scrubs. But to me, a second tier quarterback is in the middle class.
That's what I would say. So who's your second tier?
So my second tier would be like a Jimmy G or like a Lamar Jackson. Guys that still have to kind of prove themselves. Not close to being scrubs, but good enough to kind of lead the offense and take charge. That to me, that's a middle class quarterback.
It's interesting you put Lamar Jackson in the middle class because right now he's trying to get that. He was offered $290 million. You know why that contract didn't get done? And I said it. I knew it. It didn't get done because he wants the fully guaranteed money, like what Watson got.
He will never get it.
That contract didn't get done.
He will never get it.
Does anybody on this panel see him getting a fully guaranteed contract like Watson? I don't think that's going to happen.
He will never get it. He will never get it because of his play style.
Right.
I agree. No, I agree. Definitely.
Right.
I definitely agree.
He won't get it. And his numbers have kind of decreased, it seems. You didn't see him put up the same numbers that he did in his rookie season, and he has thrown a lot of interceptions. He hasn't always made the best decisions with the football. I think what helps him the most is his ability to be a dual threat quarterback, to run, to extend plays because of his speed and his athleticism. But as far as throwing the ball, there's still a lot of question marks there. He's not an accurate passer. He throws into tight windows. He doesn't make the smartest decisions with the football. And that is what's holding Lamar Jackson back. And that's why he didn't get paid, because the Ravens obviously felt that he's not the guy moving forward in the near future.
No, I definitely get that. Stat guy, who's your middle class of quarterbacks?
Before I comment that, I'm just going to crucify Damian Hernandez here. And basically,
I was going to do it too, but go ahead.
Basically trying to tell me that Kirk Cousins had a lucky game against Green Bay when he's 5-4 against Aaron Rodgers as a starter. That's a little bit more than luck. He's got a winning record against Aaron Rodgers.
People forget that too. I mean, they overlook that.
No, they do.
If you don't have Matt Ryan in the middle, where do you have him?
This is 5 years ago.
What quarterback doesn't make a questionable play, Damian? Honestly, what a stupid comment. What quarterback doesn't make a questionable play on a daily basis? You can say that about Aaron Rodgers on his interception that he threw to Harrison Smith at the end of the first half. Who was he throwing it to? That was a questionable play on his part, but yet he still threw it anyways.
Yeah, I think Russell almost had 2 interceptions last night.
What the hell do you expect? You expect the quarterback to be perfect in every damn game? What? These guys are not robots.
How many questionable decisions did Joe Burrow have this Sunday? Because half the time he was sitting on his ass and couldn't do anything.
Well, we know he had 5 turnovers, so that was probably 5 mental mistakes.
Sacked 7 times.
Absolutely.
And
And it's only week 1. It's only week 1.
This is
Hey,
supposed to be a
before we
better
get on this
line.
next topic, before we get on this next topic, I do have one question for Stat Guy because I'm just kind of curious his opinion. I know I kind of talked about it, but obviously Geno Smith. I really thought that dude was going to get crucified by Denver. I never really believed in him. I didn't believe him when he got picked by the Jets. I didn't believe, all the times, all the different teams he's been, a backup quarterback too. I know he was down there in the Cardinals and Giants and other places. But we saw him have a pretty damn good game against the Denver Broncos. What do we do with Geno? I mean, he's a scrub probably because of the amount of years he sucked, but he had a damn good ass game. So what can we expect from Geno going forward? Was that just a lucky game, or do you think that he may have a memorable season?
I don't think he's going to have a memorable season, and I don't think it was a lucky game either. You have to remember, Geno Smith started 9 games for Seattle last year. So he is familiar with that system. He is familiar with that offense versus Russell Wilson went into a completely new system, a completely new coaching staff, a completely new offense where it's going to take Russell Wilson probably 3-4 weeks to get accustomed to what that offense wants to do. You put Denver at Seattle in week 5, I think Denver beats them by 3 touchdowns just because Russell Wilson will finally have that Denver offense figured out as opposed to going into week 1 where Geno Smith knows what the Seattle offense is and Denver kind of doesn't have that identity yet.
No, I agree. Real quick, we're going to the next topic now, but Dustin, I just want to tell you, I know you got the Chiefs going to the Super Bowl, but brother, man, after what I've seen from the Chargers, Lord Jesus, I don't know, man. I don't know, man. If they don't put pause in your thought process, I don't know, man. It's gonna be crazy.
Can't forget the Bills either.
And again, I'm not putting the Bills too. I mean, the AFC's got some scary ass teams. I'll be honest. I think the AFC has more scarier teams than what the damn NFC has. But it's my opinion. Real quick, Frost is out at Nebraska. Who do you have replace him, or who do you think should replace him? I'll tell you my quick short list, and that would be probably. Oh, hey, yeah.
Do you care if I go on this first? Because I have to actually sign off in like 5 minutes.
I do. No, you suck. I'm not letting you go. No, go ahead, that guy. I'm totally kidding. Kidding. Go first. It's all you, baby.
So there's actually a lot of Wisconsin ties to the Nebraska position for a variety of names. Nebraska wants Jim Leonard. And right now, I don't see Wisconsin parting ways with Jim Leonard because I think Jim Leonard knows that if Paul Chryst fails not only this year but next year also, that I think the Wisconsin job is his. So I think Jim Leonard's going to wait it out in Wisconsin another year or two to see what happens. The other name to watch in Nebraska is a former assistant coach under Barry Alvarez in the late 90s at Wisconsin. Then he went to UW-Whitewater and won 7 national championships in a 10-year stretch with UW-Whitewater. And he's got Kansas 2-0 right now as Lance Leipold. If they can get Lance Leipold out of his contract in Kansas, Nebraska is going to hire him on the spot. And the curious thing to watch about that is who Lance Leipold wants to bring in as his offensive coordinator. The offensive coordinator that he wants to bring in was his offensive coordinator at Whitewater. Then he went to Kimberly High School up in Wisconsin and won 70 consecutive games and 5 consecutive state titles as a head coach at Kimberly and posted a 138-6 record as a high school coach. That's who he would want to bring in as his offensive coordinator.
Interesting. And again, I agree with you. I'm gonna go to my list real fast, super quick, because we got time limits. Number one on my list, honestly, was Lance Leipold, right there with you. He obviously is a winner, right? He's a winner. He's 2-0 in 2022 with Kansas, and he just knows how to develop a winning culture. 6 Division III titles. I think that proves it. Number 2, I got Mark Stoops out of Kentucky. We saw what Kentucky did to Florida. So 5 winning seasons, and I think he knows how to recruit well. So that's why I'm looking at Mark Stoops. Number 3 would be Aranda out of Baylor. Big 12 championship in his second season. LSU defensive coordinator when Joe Burrow was there. You know what that title did. And then the last one is number 4, Bill O'Brien, Alabama offensive coordinator. Look, anybody that comes out of the damn Saban tree has done well, to the point of Kirby Smart, to the point of Sarkisian, who got damn near pretty close within a field goal that was screwed up by their kicker. God rest his soul in hell. That should have beaten Alabama. So, yeah, I got Bill O'Brien, 15-9 in 2 seasons at Penn State. Let's go. Logan? Or Gonzo. I'm sorry, Gonzo?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a Leopold. The only way I don't think it's going to be him is if they just can't get him out of his contract. I think that's who Nebraska really wants. I just hope if he gets there that he's going to be able to recruit some of these top players to Nebraska. Because Nebraska football hasn't been what Nebraska football used to be years ago.
Absolutely. Logan?
Yeah, I like your list, Jay, but 2 more names I can throw out there. Matt Campbell at Iowa State, and also potentially Charles Huff after what he did with Marshall. Beating Notre Dame this past week. I'm sure his name just got on a lot of boards if he continues to have a good season with the Thundering Herd. So just 2 more names on that list.
I have another name to add after Jonathan goes, too, that I just thought of.
Jonathan, who you got, brother?
Yeah, I have 2 names in mind. I have Matt Campbell. I like what he's done at Iowa State. I mean, he put the Cyclones on the map since he's been there. Now, I know he's gone 7-6 last season. So the question with him is, does he have the ability, to maintain the success? We all know that he can build the program and get the program back into shape. So he's one of the names that I like. He has emerged, as a popular name for a few head coaching jobs in the past when they were opened. And then one of the names you mentioned, Jay, Mark Stoops. Mark Stoops, I think, is the kind of program builder that Nebraska needs. He has turned Kentucky into a solid program since he's been there with 5 winning seasons. He definitely has a proven resume. He's a name that seems like the right fit for the University of Nebraska, but it might be tough to get him away from Kentucky. That right there is the bigger question as well. But those are my 2 guys, Matt Campbell and Mark Stoops.
I think Luke Fickell's a name that you can throw out there from Cincinnati after what he's done with that program in Cincinnati. But the other name that, if this guy's not hired by a Power 5 conference after this year, I don't know when it would be, is Sean Clark. Does anybody know who Sean Clark is?
Yeah, I can see that.
If he can do what he's been doing at Appalachian State, you bring him into Nebraska and you kind of implement that same system that he's employed at Appalachian State, Nebraska is going to be a contender within a year with Sean Clark.
Oh, that's interesting. All right, hey, real quick, we're going to get into, and I appreciate that, Dustin. Real quick, we're going to get a college football week 1 recap. We're not going to go through every game, but certainly we'll hit obviously some of the highlighted games. Alabama, again, as we know, barely escaped Texas with that, maybe 1 or 2 points. And again, God, I hate kickers. I hate freaking kickers because they always screw me over. They screwed me over when Dallas played Tampa in week 1 of last year. They screwed me over again last night or the other night when Texas went against Bama. God, I just wanted to look cool. Why do you do this to me? But anyway, it is what it is. But again, and now we see that Alabama, because of that close game to Texas and them being unranked, and then what Georgia did to Samford on the shutout, now Georgia is the rightful owner of number 1, and Bama is exactly where they should be, if not even number 3, because I think Ohio could beat this damn Bama team the way they played against Texas. So if it was me, I got Georgia, Ohio, Bama. But again, it's currently Georgia, Bama, Ohio. It is what it is. There's nothing I can do about it. But I think as the weeks go along, we're going to see Bama maybe go back another spot or 2. Don't be surprised if you see that. BYU over Baylor. Oh, my God, 26-20. I really thought Baylor would take that. Appalachian State over A&M. Are you freaking kidding me? Freaking Appalachian State, A&M. Come on, do better. Jimbo Fisher, do better.
Marshall over Notre Dame.
Marshall over Notre Dame, though, was probably the biggest upset of the week. And the fumble, that is what hurt them at the end. As I regress, Washington State over Wisconsin. Oh, Wisconsin, you suck. Texas Tech over Houston. Come on, Houston! It's Texas Tech. You should have had that. Anyway, those are my notable games. For time purposes, I'm going to let Gonzo go now. Gonzo, you're up, Bubba.
Yeah, that Texas and Alabama game was a crazy game, and Texas really should have won that game.
God, I know. Shit.
I do think they got the rankings right now. I like Georgia at 1 and Bama at 2. Georgia should have been number 1 to begin with. Look what they've done. Look what they've done their first 2 games. Ohio State. I like Ohio State, but their offense, it just sometimes it gets inconsistent. Look what their offense looked like against Notre Dame, and then Notre Dame goes out and gets beat by App State. So I like Michigan.
Yeah, you're right.
I do like Michigan. They're looking pretty good. It's a lot's going to depend on that young quarterback that they're playing. He decided to start the younger guy. But no, there was a lot of good games. I think six top 20 teams lost over the weekend between college football and NFL. Man, it was an exciting weekend of sports.
Yeah, that was just nuts. The amount of upsets, Logan.
Yeah, man, it was a wild first week, or second week, and like you said, I think Georgia rightfully should be the number 1 seed. They've only allowed 3 points in 2 ball games, and also let's not forget they only gave up 3 points to, I believe, the number 11 at the time ranked Oregon Ducks.
Yeah,
I mean that's pretty crazy to me. Plus, considering they lost half their roster, it feels like, and they're still looking as good as ever. So rightfully, like I said, they should be number 1. I can see your argument, Jay, for Alabama being number 2, just because they did struggle heavily against the Longhorns. And I mean, let's be real, that was one of the most undisciplined Alabama games I've ever seen in my life. It was the most penalties they've ever had under a Nick Saban-led team. I think they had 17, give or take. And I mean, that's just not what you expect from an Alabama-led team. The offense wasn't really clicking either. Bryce Love didn't really look like a Heisman until the 4th quarter. He turned it on then, but the first 3 quarters, he was pretty pedestrian. And like you said, just the majority of upsets, that's what college football is all about. Notre Dame was overhyped, like we all knew. They haven't been great in 10 years. Back when they were in the national championship game, they haven't really done much since. They rightfully lost. Clemson, I mean, DJU, I'm still not a bit out there for him. I'm not sure if he's going to be the savior, especially how good as Trevor Lawrence was. I'm not really seeing that yet. Like I said, Michigan's going good. They're starting, I believe, McCarthy as the quarterback going forward. So we'll see how they can do there. Watch out for USC, though. USC had a really good week.
USC's making strides.
With Caleb Williams and also Jordan Addison. They're looking real good. I know you love that one, Jonathan. Yeah. Also, too, let's not forget, you see number 9 there. They got Kentucky. Mark Stoops and the Wildcats ain't nothing to play with, man. They're getting around. He's come back this week, and that's their top rusher. So that's going to be even better.
Jonathan, yeah. I got 2 questions for you, Jonathan. We're going to make this quick. I want to make this quick. And I know you're long-winded. You're like me. You're long-winded. It's okay. That's what I love about you. Number 1, do you think that Ohio should be ranked number 2? And if so, do you think that Bama maybe should be at number 3? That's one question. And then the other question is, yeah, man, what'd you think?
Yes, with the way Ohio State played, it was very convincing. I do think they deserve the number 2 spot. Look, they arguably have one of the best offenses in the country, if not the best. It's going to be a monumental task for anybody they face to stop that offense of theirs. So Notre
Dame gave the offense trouble. That's one thing that worries about Ohio State.
But no, I still think Ohio State is one of those teams to beat. They're definitely a powerhouse school. Ryan Day, their head coach, has done a great job. keeping things intact for that program. So I really like them at number 2. I think Alabama should slide down. Look, they nearly lost to an unranked school, and the game was close. And I think Texas would have pulled off the upset if their quarterback didn't go down. I mean, let's just keep it real, because Alabama did not play a good first half at all. They looked sluggish. They looked unorganized. It was undisciplined and unorganized football. And Nick Saban's team, which is very rare, wasn't ready to play football. They weren't ready for that game. They didn't show up ready. And Bryce Young didn't look like himself, but I will give Bryce Young a lot of credit because when they needed him to step up and be legendary, he was legendary on that final drive and did enough to put his team in the red zone where they were able to kick the game-winning field goal and walk away as winners.
2 points of interest. I agree with you that what Bryce Young did at the end, it was almost like a Vince Young legendary status. If you remember, I know if anybody remembers Vince Young, oh my God, Jonathan Mathis and Pete Carroll certainly remember.
God,
Vince
what a heartbreaker that was! You have to remind me. Do you have to remind me?
Yeah, dude. Because you know what? After what I just experienced this weekend, I'm going to remind you. But here's the deal. Hey, but here's the deal. 2 things I noticed. Number 1 is that Alabama's got a weakness now. And that weakness is, and Texas exposed it, is if you put that pressure on Bryce, and if you're able to keep it, that team will fold. That team will fold. And I'll tell you, and Texas did a really damn good job of keeping the pressure on Bryce. And you saw him go down a few times. It was crazy. But again, it is what it is at the end of the day, folks. And Alabama did get the win. But based off of that performance, don't be surprised if we're looking at the end of Alabama's run for a title this year again. I think they're gonna meet the same fate they met last year, and it's just gonna be, once and done. All right, folks, we're gonna run on to the next topic. We got Mr. Carlos Alcaraz, the youngest to be number 1. He won the U.S. Open at 19. And at 19, he became the youngest number 1 player in the ATP in the world. Number 1 in the world. He was duking it out with this opponent, and I cannot remember that guy's name to save my life. Casper Ruud. Thank you. Jesus, Jason, you're doing good. He beat Casper Ruud. Had Casper Ruud won that title, or had he won the U.S. Open over him, that match determined who was going to be ranked number 1. So now Casper Ruud is going to be ranked number 2. And as he said, hey, number 2 in the world, not bad. I think I'll take it. I'm okay with that. I'd be okay with that too. Not a bad shenig. But again, youngest guy at 19 to be ranked number 1. He's got the skill, the speed, the stamina, probably to hold on to that for quite some time. I would look at Carlos Alcaraz as a generational type of guy. I'd put him almost in the same level as a young Tiger Woods when he emerged, or as a young Tom Brady when he emerged. I'd put him in those young emergent categories. Barring injury, he's going to have a crazy good career. He took out Rudd 6'4", 2'6", 7'6", and 6'3". And again, I just think he's one of those generational guys. He spent 23 hours and 40 minutes on the court. No one has ever done that since 2000, the year 2000. So 22 years, nobody's ever put that much time on the court and walked away with the victory. Carlos Alcaraz, I salute you, and I think you're going to be the next Serena. You're probably going to be the next Tiger, Tom. I think for your sport, I am projecting that you will be in those conversations. Gonzo.
No, he's tough. I watched his I didn't see the final match, but I watched the semifinals where he had a real tough match with the American player Bihaho, I think is how you pronounce his name, which was actually the first.
They got some crazy names.
And that was that semifinal match was real good. Both them guys are really athletic. So no, I think this dude has a bright career ahead of him. I don't know if I would say that he's going to be a Serena yet because this is his first big win, but I think he has a bright career ahead of him, and he can play. It was fun to watch. I didn't get to watch the championship. I watched that semifinals against that Fiajo from the United States, and it went hard.
I get that, Gonzo. But what I want you to remember, Gonzo, is 15 years from now, when I'm like 65, almost 70, we're gonna have this conversation. You'll be back on Unscripted because Unscripted is gonna be around forever. You're gonna tell Jay, man. I remember back in the day when you called him the next Serena. I'm just saying. Look, you can't be legendary without making legendary comments, and that's a legendary comment. You'll remember that 15 years from now. You'll be like, Jay, I remember that. Just keep that in the back pocket. Don't worry, I got it on video. Logan.
Yep.
Perez, what are you thinking?
Yeah, man, just a tremendous weekend for him. Like you mentioned, I got the alert for that match that ended like 2 a.m. on ESPN. Yeah. I'm like, what's going on here? Like, went on for like 5 hours or whatever. I'm like, Jesus Christ. But yeah, he definitely deserved this win, man. Also, super young, 19. I mean, that's insane. I mean, I'm 24 and he's 19. This man was he'd be like a freshman or a junior or a sophomore in college, for God's sake, and he's already top of the game right now. So yeah, congrats to him. Huge win. And let's see if he can pick it up, Jay, because this is a big one. But let's see if he can continue this train throughout the remainder of the season, remainder of the year. I think he'll definitely be, if he can keep this up at such a young age too, like Serena, like Tiger, like we mentioned, he could definitely be up there, but he's just got to be consistent like those two were. But so far, off to a very hot start.
Oh, I agree. Jonathan.
That is very insane. That is very insane. This is very impressive to me. And it's quite a feat for a guy who is 19 years old. I mean, that's incredible. He's ahead of his time. He seems very poised. And you guys might remember at the end of 2021, he was considered one of the young, brightest talents in the game. So he was up and coming. And now he has emerged into this superstar playing at such a high level. It's amazing. I know we're looking for that next guy, and we've been searching hard for that next guy since Pete Sampras and Andre Agassi. I mean, as far as American man go, we've been looking for a very long time, and he might just be that guy, And
absolutely.
If he could keep this up, and if he could keep playing at such a high level, and he could continue to dominate at such a young age, then he will be. But hey, coming into the next Grand Slam, there's going to be heavy expectations now. The expectations reset themselves, and now a lot of people are really going to be rooting for him and paying close attention to him as the spotlight shines greatly on him. But this is a beautiful story.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, again, I like I said earlier, I told all you guys, I said I think he's the next Serena, and when he is, I fully expect my flowers.
You'll get them. You get 2 dozen.
Hey, I like roses too. Okay, don't let it fool you. Don't let it fool you. All right, man. Hey, listen, guys, we have made it to the portion of the night where we are at final thoughts. Gonzo, please lead us off in the final thoughts.
I got 36 minutes before the Sun and Aces battled out for Game 2 of the WNBA Finals. Looking for something to watch now. I know sports-wise tonight's kind of a light night after we got used to the weekend and having the Monday Night Football. There's a little bit of baseball on, some WNBA. There is some NWA wrestling on as well. That's what happens when you're watching wrestling on TV at the same time you're talking. But,
awesome sauce.
And Thursday night we have what should be an awesome Thursday night football game. So I'm looking forward to that. I was glad to be back, and I'll be back on Thursday.
Awesome, Logan.
So I mentioned it, Jay, about maybe a week or two ago about Brett Favre being in some legal issues. Well, I have an update here. So in a tweet, it says some newly released texts show that Governor Phil Bryant, former Governor Phil Bryant of Mississippi, and Brett Favre, along with others, worked together to channel at least $5 million of the state's welfare funds to build a new volleyball stadium at the University of Southern Mississippi, which is where Brett Favre's daughter played volleyball. So, ain't looking good for the Packers' great quarterback right now. Looks like he might be in some hot water.
Such a great time to be alive.
Not for him.
Real quick, before Jonathan gives his final thoughts, Gonzo, I needed to get your team. Who are you picking for this week?
I'm gonna go with the old trusty Indianapolis Colts.
Oh wow!
To bounce back this week.
Colts over the Jaguars.
Yep.
Yeah, you didn't stretch that out too far, did you? You saw what they did to the Texans. Okay, good job. No, I'm totally kidding with you. By the way, that damn division, nobody got to win. How crazy is that? It's just insane to me.
Hey, the Colts did everything they could to lose.
Hey, you're on top right now, Chris. You're on top still. You're tied for first.
Jesus.
It's crazy.
Jonathan, before you give your final thought, I need to know your team you're picking this week.
A team I'm picking to win? Any team?
Yep.
But not the Chargers or the Colts. They're off the board.
Let's go with the Vikings. Let's go with the Vikings over the Eagles.
All right.
Oh, I actually like that because I think the Vikings and Eagles is going to be really nice. Oh, man, they match up really well. So that's going to be a really good game. All right, final thoughts. Jonathan, go.
MLB screwed up the other day. I don't know if you guys saw it. Somebody screwed up because they crowned the Dodgers prematurely as NL West champions.
Yeah, I saw that.
Last night, and last night the Dodgers ended up locking it up for good. They didn't clinch on Sunday. They clinched yesterday. So somebody made a mistake and got it wrong. Somebody's a Dodger fan that wanted the Dodgers to win the division really badly. But I don't care at this point. Because year after year, the Dodgers let us down. It doesn't matter if they win the damn division. To hell with that damn division. I'm tired of winning division titles. I want the damn Dodgers to finally cash in October when it matters the most. Until then, I'm not celebrating a damn thing. Okay, whatever they win, to me, that's a participation award. Okay, fine. That's great. That's fine and dandy. Now win the damn World Series. Till then, I ain't celebrating.
Jonathan, how much do you charge for motivational speeches? I'm just curious.
Jesus.
I charge $50 by the hour.
Okay. Also, Damien, it was two old guys looking it out,
listen,
and also AJ Pearson got knocked the hell out.
Hey, I'm just saying there's a couple of job openings down here for a Southern Baptist preacher. I think he'd be perfect for. Hey, look, man. AP versus Le'Veon. Le'Veon, yes, got the win. What do I think about? I think it's two old, broke down ass running backs jumping in the ring, going for it. Neither one of them really had skill set.
Nick Young got beat up too.
I didn't want to.
Shooting guard, he got knocked out also.
But I would just say this. I will just say this. Le'Veon was the winner in the ring, but AP was the better running back on the field.
Oh, clearly.
So just take from that what you will.
Watching the UFC.
Secondly,
I just come on now.
I don't know what you guys' thought process is on that, but this is my thought process. I would love to write a letter, and I think I'm going to write a letter to the athletic director at the University of Texas. And I'm going to state in that letter that we should have the kicker, and I don't know his name. He's just some random guy. But let's go ahead and have that kicker's scholarship reduced by 50%. I want 50%. Look, I think two things need to happen. Number one, the athletic director needs to go and rescind 50% of that contract. that they gave him, and then kick him off the team and be like, look, guys, at best, you're going to go to the University of Texas and you're going to get half your tuition paid. That's better than half the other people. So
if he gets the game winner for y'all this year, I'm just going to refer back to this.
The thoughts of Jay McLovin do not necessarily reflect
any of us here on Unscripted.
Oh no, listen, they may not be telling it, but they're thinking it. Look. Look, look, in the NFL, you get paid for performance. Well, it's the same thing. You get paid for performance. So what I'm saying is this. If I'm the athletic director, I'm going to take 50% of the scholarship away because you only gave me 50% of the effort with that botched 21-yard field goal. I'm sorry. My daughter could have made that. Anyway, so I'm going to send him on his merry way. He's going to have half a scholarship paid. And then the other part of that equation is we need to go to Texas soccer team and just randomly select the best soccer kicker they have, and let's bring him on. Either way, the kicker killed it. We all know soccer players make great field goal kickers, and let's bounce back. Hell with it.
Well, I think you can end any better than that, ladies and gentlemen.
So pissed off. Jeez Louise, man. I mean, honestly, bro, you're like the embarrassment of the school. We could have won that game. God,
you probably got him in the field.
He's all right. The next day, Blankenship showed him how to do it, how to be even worse.
There you go.
I'm just saying, look, everybody knows that the reason why we lost wasn't because Ewers got hurt. It wasn't because Card was hobbled. We lost that game because of think about that for a minute. I want everybody to think about this for a minute. When you think about Alabama, I want you to think about two things. Number one, you won, and you're in number two because our field goal kicker sucked ass. Number two, you almost got your asses beat by a number two hobbled quarterback. Let that sink in for a minute, and you want to go play Ohio? Give me a damn break. All right, folks, I want to thank Stat Guy Dustin Reese for coming on the show tonight. Awesome, good job. My boy, Jonathan Mathis, you know what he brings to the table. Amazingly good stuff. I'm going to endorse him as the next official preacher of the United States of America. I think he deserves it. Babyface, babyface Logan, and old decrepit ass Gonzo. Look, Gonzo Sports Room. Go check Gonzo Sports Room out. The guy's got great content. He just has amazing stuff. Gonzo Sports Room. Check it out. It's on the web. It's on Facebook. It's all over the place. It's your boy Jay McLovin on the All Sports All Plays Network. Telling you we love you, and we'll see you Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.